This week on VersaVlog, we're talking about virtual site tours and how they are the wave of the future. Hey everyone, welcome back to VersaVlog. This week I have a really special guest. It's going to be John Williams from American Guest. And everyone say hello. John and I met actually during this crazy time of COVID. I met his father, Richard Williams, last year around this time. It was the beginning of December in the UK. A very interesting place to meet someone, but we began talking and met him again in New York in the end of February before the world went crazy, and stayed in touch. And American Guest has been a great help and a great proponent of virtual site tours and everything we're doing at VersaTour. So welcome, John, and tell us a little bit about American Guest and what you guys have been doing.
Sure. Well, prior to March of whatever year we're in, 2020, can't remember, 19 would have been better. We focused and represented ourselves as a concierge for corporate meetings and events nationwide. So Hawaii to Miami, New York, Las Vegas, LA, Nashville, DC, and elsewhere, working mainly with the international market on the inbound services, because there's the intimidation of working with the US and doing groups and restaurants and all the things that go with that. And that all ceased on March 12th, 13th, 14th of this year. And so since in those past, 9 months we've been in, it's been a struggle. Much like all of us in the tourism, the industry's frozen. We've done everything we can do to remain very present, to remain in the front burner when things do turn around. But I will say it's been a difficult time for us and everybody. We have formed some new, I don't want to say alliances, but new contacts and ways of doing some things. We worked on this thing called Mission Critical. That's been very supportive of the industry, having over 3,000 people watching it virtually, and making a lot of other contacts. But besides that, as for the company, unfortunately, we're frozen.
And you guys are based out of New York City, and we're all having different experiences around the world. Can you kind of enlighten us what's going on in New York as of right now? I'm in Nashville. I have family in New York, which is very funny. John and I probably grew up about less than 10 miles away from each other.
Yep, not far at all.
Yeah, so can you give us a little update on New York?
Sure. As a proud New Yorker, someone who said, I'll never leave, I'm here. I love it. It's great. It's the best. It's taxing. I will say that. I mean, I'm not one to sugarcoat things. I will say when things are better than, but right now it's hard. For New York City, we were progressing until about 3 weeks ago to at least start to get things going, getting some businesses back in. When I say getting back in, I mean slowly. I don't mean like all of a sudden everything's back. The trains are empty. The subways are empty. The city does feel like a shell of itself. I've been in there a number of times. I was in there about a week ago, and it's just weird. You're not seeing the suits. You're not seeing the people in the restaurants and dining and moving around. The energy or that thing that ever gets everybody like, wow, this place, you just got to go. It's not there right now. For a while, there was a lot of plywood up from when we had our summer challenges with what was going on. And those have started to come down, but it is still a shell of itself. Unfortunately, right now, with what's going on with COVID, the school system was shut down as of last week. And it looks like they might start to do that with restaurants and some gyms and things this week. So we thought we hit the worst, and we were doing so well after we were the worst back in March, April, May. But we are starting to progress a little bit backwards. I don't think it will be to the extent it was last time. I think we've all learned a lot. Nashville, New York, LA, San Francisco. But the week being it is Thanksgiving, it stinks not being able to celebrate with family. New York is going to take and need some time with businesses that are left, residents that left, Broadway being closed, and the restaurants. The restaurants, everybody goes, oh, it's okay. It's not okay in the sense of the restaurants bring people in to dine, both, for businesses and for, the casual diner. those then bring in other businesses. Broadway brings in business, the sports brings in business. So, the fortunate part for New York, though, is that we're not relied on just tourism. We're not relied on just finance. We're not just relied on any one industry. So we are able to survive in other things, but it's just not New York. It's just could be another city, which we know it will come back. We've been through some things, but it's going to be a long time until that happens.
Right. And you probably remember back, I was actually in New York on 9/11. Pretty sure you were there too, and how the industry struggled then as well.
Yeah.
Not probably to the extent we are now, but I do know on 9/11 and thereafter, there were a lot of challenges, and New York came back and got better than ever. So I'm not really concerned about New York coming back. And I actually think there's going to be a boom that's going to happen after vaccinations and everything come out. Maybe not next year, but thereafter. I think many
Yeah.
of these cities are going to see the breath come back in and see people wanting to travel. And I think it's going to really reinvigorate
I
everyone.
agree. Hey, there's pent up demand from both the group side and the leisure side. I was part of a group last week of 150 travel advisors on the leisure side, high level, virtuoso, smart flyers, and whatnot. And they were talking about how these people are traveling. Those who have disposable income still have disposable income. They can take their private plane and they can get that bill and go to Cabo. They can go to Hawaii. They can go to Key West, wherever these places are, and have that COVID safe experience. Besides that, though, both domestically, there's been some surveys where I think the last one I saw was 82% of the corporate travelers said they're comfortable coming back and traveling. It's now them being permitted to by their companies. And then outside of that, you have the international. Everybody wants to travel, and when you take away that option for this long, it's just ready to go. We're there. So when it does come back, it's going to come back, I think, with a positive vengeance. And when I say that, though, the people that do want to travel are going to have to think differently, because before it was easier. There's going to be less flights initially. There's going to be less options because all these other people already have things booked. So people have to be a little bit more, or a lot more flexible in the dates they want to travel, the price points, the destinations, and then also having to deal with new restrictions. Even with vaccine coming aboard, people are going to still want some of these things that are here to continue in place for a while, even after the vaccine's in place.
And you sent me an article about a week ago, and from the Hotel Business Review, and they kind of spelled out, looking backwards for, trends for long-term recovery and different things. And one of the things that you pointed out to me was, hey, look in number 3, I think it was B, and it was virtual site tours, which that is what we're doing at Versatour. And I wanted to open up our discussion a little bit about what you're seeing with the markets right now and how virtual site tours are going to be getting us through and sustaining us for the future.
In many ways, and that's why I sent you the article. Hospitality, I find, is probably one of the slowest industries to embrace technology and to make adjustments. And the COVID and this pandemic has forced the industry to have to think differently, act differently, quicker than it usually does. So the positive out of this I've seen is that virtual site tours are becoming much more the mainstream conversation. And you're starting to hear that hotels have it or venues have it. And they're becoming more of a, yeah, okay, we can do that. As before, oh, I think I can. Let me know. No, we don't. Now it's, yeah, we do, or we're getting it. And that's a necessity, because now that everybody's doing the Zooms or whatever it is that they're using web access or whatnot, they need to now have another meeting because they don't have the budget to travel. They don't feel comfortable traveling, or they're not permitted to travel, or whatever. So the virtual site tour is value to a company like ours when we're looking at hotels, venues, destinations, is invaluable, because it lets us do our work ahead of time and see an authentic, as opposed to just, hey, hotels do a great job showing great pictures, but when you get there, you go, oh, it's not exactly the way I envision it. I understand that they have to paint a picture differently, or really embellish it, but the virtual site tour gives the authentic feel, and you can kind of see, okay, I like this style, and then go forward and ask that RFP or to the venue what I'm seeing is that it's even more valuable to them because they have had to, cut, reduce some of their staff or reduce expenses. It's letting them make that great investment from the beginning. And from a, like I said, a planner side, I love it. And I think to have it in one place like you guys are all doing is going to be it's going to be the new trend. So I'm very excited to see what you all come up with and how it comes along because it's here to stay.
Some of the questions that we get a lot is, about number one is how do we get this video, or if we don't already. And we get other questions about the ROI. Now you have also worked like myself on the hotelier end, opened several hotels, have kind of gone through the demand, and now the demand is a little less. Where do you see how virtual site tours will work with hoteliers that are a little hesitant right now to kind of sign up for something to get the exposure and put their money towards something? Because they I know marketing budgets have gotten a lot smaller, but how do you think this ROI would benefit them?
I think it benefits them. Like I said before, it's going to weed out the leads that are not uh, relevant to them or appropriate for them. And when I say appropriate, I mean it's too big, it's too small, it's not the right style or whatever. Right from the beginning, that venue can, without having to go back and forth on phone calls, emails, or whatnot, can vet, if you want to call it, a real lead from one that doesn't make sense. And when you've got staff, when they've had to make their cuts and reduce their expenses, this tool lets them say, hey, have you taken a look at our site tour? And I want to make sure that it's the right style, location, size, and ambiance for your program or whatever you're looking for. And then the person's go, yeah, it is great. And then the salesperson, the marketing person says, okay, let's take that next step. Without that tool, there's a lot of unknowns until that person gets to the hotel and does that site visit. And then the hotelier or the salesperson has to take their time out of the hotel, spend an hour to run. Now in 15 minutes, you can solve something that could take an hour and a half, 2 hours, because hospitality is very cordial. They're very welcoming. So that site visit isn't just a tour. It's usually, would you like to have breakfast? Would you like to have lunch? Would you like to have a drink? Which is great and it's wonderful and it's part of the experience. But we in this industry today don't have either that time or that leisure or budget to do those things. So we have to find some other tools. This way, it lets the venue hotels or whatnot do it in a more efficient manner.
One of the things that we both are parents, and speaking to some planners who are also parents, or hoteliers who are stuck at home with kids right now in virtual school, and the changes we've had, is how this is going to help with getting meetings back without actually leaving the comfort of your chair or the comfort of your screen, or really being able to, like you said, vet, not only on the planner end but on the supplier end, is get vetted leads. And as a parent, and you actually traveled to Connect. We were actually supposed to meet for our first time in person at Connect. I decided that I couldn't because I'm home with my children. How do you see this helping parents in the long run?
Yeah, I've got 3 kids. I did go to Connect, and I went because I felt that if I want to see business come back from my company in the industry, I can't expect that to happen if I don't do it myself. And I have to be out there, and I have to lead, and I have to, find those relationships. And I also wanted to see who was around. This tool lets us manage both, because I can at any moment go do that site tour. I can do that reach, extension. I can do that RFP and see what I've got and make that connection quicker. So instead of usually sending out, let's just say 10, 20, inquiries to somewhere, destination, and looking at all the different options. Now with the virtual site tours, I can really hone it down pretty quickly to, if it was, let's just say 20, I can get that down to probably 6 or 7 or 8. And then see it. And then when I need to do a site visit or whatever, I'm down to 2 or 3. That's not usually the way the case it was before. And it's going to let us do that. And you can build and connect with the venue or the hotel visually. It really makes all the difference. The phone is great, and I don't ever want to get rid of the phone. I hate email personally. I don't think it's a great communication tool. I think it's a great documentation tool, but not for communicating. And then this, you can kind of get the feel and the vibe of people, and that's what we've learned from this pandemic, and that tool is still here to stay. Me though, I got to get back out there. I got to travel again. I'm not a work from home person. It's just not my. It's just not who I am. So I got to get out of this dungeon I'm in. But for those who can't, for whatever reason, it's letting them stay very much in touch with everything that's going on.
Yeah, one thing we just did is a client of ours, we did 9 site tours. So we went to Memphis and visited 4 hotels. And because I am in Nashville, it was easy for me to do the rest, which was another 5, and did personal planner site visits. And the planner is like, she said it was invaluable because she is actually at home with 2 kids. She's the only planner for the company right now. And she had to go from um, all in person to virtual, um, and change things because the company was wanting to keep them, in person,
Yep.
as long as they could.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, there's no way that she would have been able to get out. There's just no way possible. She's like, this was the best tool for her. So I think that what we're offering here is actually, is not only helping, just visually looking at them, but we're really opening up the world, like finding a person who is in a city that you may need to go to and be able to help out, which I know that you traveled a lot for some clients. I mean, you were all over the globe doing just site tours before you even booked the program and then had to run the program.
Right.
So like you said, it does open up this kind of vetting process and whittling it down in a sense. What are some things you would like to see happen with a site like this? Like, what are some, from a planner's point of view, what are things that would make this intriguing to you to use as your tool?
I'd say there's a couple of things. One, destinations, knowing that there's more than 1 or 2 or 3. So it's got an name from New York or Miami, and as it grows, they continue to grow with it. I'd like to see, not just hotels, but venues. I think that's really critical because you're looking at both when you do a program. Typically, you want to be in a hotel, but you also want to get outside and not feel so stuffy and get a vibe. Because if you're going to go to a destination, you want to be able to say, "Hey, I was there." Otherwise, you could have been anywhere. And I've been in those those places. I've gone international. For instance, IBTM or into Frankfurt with IMEX. You're in there for 3 days. It could be a conference anywhere else. Yes, the food's a little different. The conference, some of the people speaking the language is different, but you need to get outside and say, "Hey, I was there." And usually, I don't have that time to go venture out before or after because of kids. So that's certainly one of the things I like. Also, to be able to have that connection and feel that culture of that brand. So Versatour, to feel the energy. I've been watching some of the marketing you've been doing, and it really connects with me, if you want to say, and I can relate to it. And that it's not a system, but it's people. And our business is based on people. Now, there's tools we use to make those connections. There's the technology that we're talking about here, but it's really about the people. So seeing the face behind the company, like yourself and the other members of your team as it grows, and have that email address as opposed to just sales or just info. Just reach out. People are going to be more inclined, or at least I know I would be, to reach out to that person because I know it's Sam, Ken, Kenny, or Barbara, or whoever. That's going to be really important to somebody like myself because I own my own company and it's very personal, everything we do. So as you all grow, to have that same connection. And then be able to do more for me as you grow. So if it's besides offering this, these virtual sites in one location, but I want to be able to send an RFP. Can I do that in the same thing? And then send it to multiple and then have that communication, but I don't have to log in. And just certain things that other systems I'm not a big fan of, that are out there. And if Versatour can become that, it will become the brand, and it's not going to be called virtual site tours. It's just going to be like, you have your Versatour, and like Kleenex and Xerox, they're both industries in their own. You have a Kleenex, it's not do you have a tissue, it's not do you have a copy, it's did you Xerox that. That's what I could see Versatour becoming, and I'm very excited for your future.
Well, thank you. I want to hear that too. One great thing is we are building out. So just a little update for everyone. We're about 90% done to launch, and that is including an RFP management system as well. There's a few more things that we do need to get in, but yeah, we're really, really excited about getting to that place where we're getting this out to planners and the suppliers can sign up easily. I think building this from a planner perspective and a supplier perspective, because I've been on both sides, is invaluable. And I really appreciate you saying that about how personal it is, because it is. I feel like this is like my third child. I've worked for two startups before, and I was part of teams that, you just feel part of it. But being the person who, is the name and face, and is definitely a different feeling. Um, I just have like one more question for you about where do you see the future of meetings going? You've been on a lot of panels. We did discuss a little bit about Mission Critical, and how you guys actually hooked me up with them as well, and how we were able to kind of start launching from there. But is the hybrid going to be the next? We're going from virtual. We're going to transition to hybrid, then get into the in-person. Like, where do you see this going?
The hybrid was barely talked about pre-March. It was a little bit here. If you went to a venue or a hotel and said, "Hey, I need to do a hybrid," it was, "Oh, well, I've got to get my, let me see what we can do." Now it's a absolute no hesitation. Actually, the hotel or venue or whatever is just saying, "Will you be doing this hybrid?" And it's become part of the it's just a natural progression. So it's no longer a hesitation. It's an absolute. It's right up front. The hybrid is here to stay. It is here to stay forever. And what I've been seeing with clients and whatnot is that they're embracing it, and it's also let them share their meeting, event, and message with a greater audience, because those people. Let's just say you had an event for 500 people in San Francisco, but you couldn't have more people because your budget with food and beverage, hotel, travel didn't permit it. Hybrid lets you decrease that number of people that you were letting in, then also making additional revenue on people that are in the hybrid model or sponsors or whatever. And you don't have to worry about the food and beverage. No, take away from hotels and catering, but it really lets you balance it out. And instead of having 500 people, now you can have 1,500 people, 2,000. And most importantly, after all that, you can share that message out pretty quickly with everybody, and then have it available in your archives, download for anybody to watch at any time. And people are more comfortable with doing that today than ever. So they're just going to go click on and do their research, see a keynote. You can say to your speaker, even to your speaker, they don't have to travel to your event on site anymore. They could do 2 or 3 speeches in a day. And so those costs come down because of these virtuals. So I really do see it's here to stay. I think there's a lot more coming. And we're seeing this in different industries and how they're using this technology and this new platform. Be it if you want to say in science or in legal or in manufacturing, engineering, whatever. Everybody's embracing what we're talking about here. So it's here to stay.
Yeah, we're hoping that we all get back to meetings. That's what we're hoping. Obviously, we're nothing without the venues or the meetings. So we're absolutely hoping they get back. But that virtual jargon and speak, I know for planners has been very, very difficult. We're hoping that we can facilitate helping that as well. But bringing the meetings back in a safe way, and a way that we can facilitate. People meeting again is going to be invaluable for the future.
And that's why I wanted to connect. I was like, I wanted to kind of get the pulse and see what was going on. And it's there. The debate, the pent up is there. People ready to get back to what they like to do, and it's meeting people. I even went to dinner with somebody last week through a connection I made through PCMA conference a couple weeks ago, and it was just nice to sit down and talk and meet and see. I was like, wait a minute, I got dressed up and it just, could you throw on shoes and a nice shirt again, because that was work, and it was good to do that. And it's very good for the soul, it's good for the spirit, and mentally it gets those wheels turning again, because I think we get a little rusty when we don't see each other, and that's both personally and professionally. So it's unfortunate this week for Thanksgiving we don't get to do that, but it's there. And I think hopefully with the vaccine, I think obviously it's going to take time to roll out, but as it goes, you're going to see this pent up demand start to go. And it's not going to be immediate. It's going to be a trickle, and then a little bit more and a little bit more. And then I think by, let's say, a year from now, we are, I'd say, halfway back. If everything goes according to, I'd say halfway back. It's going to take, I think, a full 2 to 3 years to get back to prior where we were in March, because of the international magnitude of this. But that's where I hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2021 has lots of openings right now as we're sourcing right now for some clients. 21's great. 22, on the other hand, everyone's moved their events, is going to be a little sticky, but hopefully, we'll get back, and it will be, I don't think it will be like it was before. I think people are going to be a little more grateful
Yeah.
for, especially in a week of, talking about thanks and being grateful. We're all thankful that we're able to look to the future of our industry.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you being a part of VersaVlog this week, John. I'm going to pop up how to get in touch with you guys, where to find you, and hopefully we can get some clients giving you guys a ring.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on board. Like I said, I'm really encouraged, and it's really great to see a company like yours taking the leap and to go out there and try and do something new, and then embracing the industry at large. It's you see a lot of people doing it, but yours is the one of the ones I've seen to be the most pronounced, and a lot of people are talking about it. So I'm encouraged and happy for you, and wish you all the best of luck. And I look forward to having a drink like one of those on your left shoulder, and we'll toast to your success in 2021. And do keep in touch anytime. You're certainly welcome to call on me. I'll always be here. Hopefully not in the bunker and be back in the office, but always welcome to call on me.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, John. And guys, tune in for the next VersaVlog, and we'll have more stuff going on. And we just love talking to people in the industry. So if you are interested in chatting about anything you're interested in or going on in your world, please contact us at Debbie@versator.com. Talk to you guys soon.